have you experienced your family in terms of just like elevating you and supporting you in terms of embracing who you are, your Blackness, just, complexion, all of that?
Well, I can speak to this one. I grew up with a single mom, and my mom is Mexican. And so for her, having a biracial child who's Black, it was really important for her to make sure that I knew about my Black heritage, and she tried as best as she could to teach me that. And I remember some of the books we used to read were like Happy to Be Nappy, and it's like an animated book, and like you see images of girls with locks or afros or like puffs, and she always made sure to like read books to me that way because she wanted me to know that I'm beautiful, my hair is beautiful, my skin is beautiful. And she would always just encourage me like to love who I am and to love the skin that I'm in, even though we're called the negras. There's something powerful in being a negra and being Black and having Black skin. It's beautiful. And it was something that she wanted to make sure I always knew every day.
Yeah, my parents have always, always, always told me to love my skin ever since I was younger. I love my skin. Our skin is beautiful. Our hair is beautiful. Our textures are different, but they're beautiful no matter how hard they are, no matter how kinky they are. And I think once I really learned that, that's when I was like, this is the final piece of me finally loving myself completely as a Black woman. And ever since then, I will always keep talking about it. Black is beautiful. Our hair is beautiful. Our skin is beautiful. Literally everything that we do is beautiful. We all just need to accept that because no one's gonna accept it for us. So we really have to, just keep telling ourselves that till we actually, start to believe it and then start telling each other that as well.
I think the biggest thing for me that has been such a great support system is, like I said, my family's mixed. My dad is 100% Irish, and my mom is Black. And, but like, even ever since I started theater, and I acted in mostly predominantly white communities, so most of the cast was white, and I played characters like Glinda in a rip-off version of Oz, but like a character that no one ever like pictures usually as Black. And I think that my mom and my dad have always been so supportive in like the sense that they would always like make me feel like okay about playing those roles. And I think that because theater has always been such a big part of my life, having that extra support of like knowing that I was meant to play the roles that I was cast in and that I was okay playing the roles I was cast in, it helped me really come to terms with the fact that I'm comfortable with myself and my skin tone. And I think that that's definitely something that helped me.
Yeah, when I think back to like my upbringing, my parents never really reinforced anything negative about my complexion. So my mom is about your complexion, Liv, and my dad is darker than I am. And, those were conversations that we had all the time in terms of like the privileges my mom would get and people's, reactions to my dad, not only just like as a Black man, but as a dark-skinned Black male immigrant, right, with an accent, with a noticeable accent, and how all of those intersections impacted his experiences. So I remember having a lot of conversations growing up about like what some of my realities may be as a dark-skinned Black girl, Black woman. So it was like the home was really validating. It was after, like when I left the house, right? That was when the issues came into play, like based on how people were treating me, what they were saying, what my interactions were like. And I don't remember like when, like what moment it happened where I just sort of like let those things go and started to embrace who I am fully. It must have been like some point early high school, because I don't remember coming into undergrad with some of those like same tensions. But I'm thankful that like at least at home when I would have those conversations that it was like, it was supported. But I've also not had the courage to like challenge my grandmother on some of these things. Like, I mentioned to someone like, listening to her to have a conversation about my cousin who recently had a baby and she married a white man, and talking about how, he's a beautiful color, he's not dark, right? And like that hurt me in that moment because I'm just like, I'm in the kitchen, maybe she doesn't know I'm eavesdropping, but what are you saying? You know what I mean? So I think like regardless of where I am in that journey, like those moments, especially coming from folks that I love, is like, But also, my daughter is my complexion, right? And I don't want her hearing that stuff. I can't guard against it, but like as much as I want to prevent her from internalizing that, I can't, I have no control over that. What I can control is how I discuss it and encouraging others to talk about, race and racism in different ways, in ways that validates, her experiences, but also validates like who she is. She can't change her complexion, and I don't want her to feel like she has to in order to thrive in this world.
I can't really think of how my family has like reinforced like love in my skin. I'm sitting here, I'm really just thinking, wow, it's a really colorist household. But I do know that like bleaching your skin was like, I don't know if it's a thing here, but it's like a huge thing in Jamaica. And so I can always say that my dad has always told me, like, don't ever do that.
Right.
Like, your skin is the skin you were born with. That's the skin that's gonna look good on you. I know that my dad, even though he has his issues and he's always just like, oh, don't get any darker, he's always never told me like I needed to be lighter. Like, he always made it seem like I was perfect the way I am.
The only thing that comes up for me is thinking about like how people perceive my Blackness different when I went natural. And also when I started my lock journey, and when I would wear hair wraps, like I was seen as like uber Black, like sister, queen, Sade is here, right? When I had relaxed hair, it's like, okay, you Black, but like whatever, you nothing special. But then I became a special kind of Black when I rocked my fro, when I rocked my head wrap and my locks, which is interesting. And I'm sure I'll continue to experience more, because I think like people just take so many messages from hair, and then when you combine that with like the full package, it becomes more of a statement.
I feel like one thing too that we didn't mention was like that whole statement, like, oh, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl.
Ugh.
Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Right.
why is that even a thing?
Yeah.
I hate that.
Gotten that before, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been told, oh yeah, no, dark-skinned girls aren't pretty. And so when they see you and they're like, oh, you are beautiful, like I think they're confused. When I hear people say that, I'm like, you're confused. I think you need to, deal with that. That's a personal issue.
Yeah.
And I would rather you not put that on me.
It's such a backhanded compliment. Like, on one hand, you're beautiful, for dark-skinned people. And then it's like the assumption that dark-skinned people aren't beautiful to begin with, but you are.
I think with that, like, yes, it's a backhanded compliment, and I can understand why people are confused by that, right? Because if we talked about all the messaging that people receive, like from a young age, so then to grow up and to be like, wow, I'm attracted to you and you're dark, I think, we on the other end, may experience it one way, but on the other end, yes, it's maybe a personal issue, but they're also working through like deconstructing some of these narratives that they've internalized and held as true. So I can understand why it's just like, but it oftentimes doesn't come off as like, wow, here's all this, messaging that's, been impacted by my conditioning as a whatever, but it's just like, it's just sort of blanketed like, oh, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl, and leave it at that. And people are just left to speculate whatever they want to speculate.